Hi, everyone. My name's Rob Arditi. It's a pleasure to be with you today. We're here to talk about marketing and how does marketing work within an organization? What is its purpose? How does one apply it? And you can see on the left are my two sons in their national Rwanda soccer team outfits, and a picture on the right when I was last at Gashora about a year and a half ago, and in an entrepreneurship class. So excited to be here with you today virtually. This is a little bit of background on myself. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area in the States. I started my own business when I was young, cutting lawns, and went on to University of Florida and eventually on to Wharton at the University of Pennsylvania. And I've been an investor in varying capacities throughout my career, in an advisory role, in investment banking, and as a principal investor, investing in high growth technology businesses. And I've been involved with Gashora in some form or another since 2013. So since the early days, and I'm really inspired by what all of you have accomplished. And it's really a pleasure to share some of my experiences with you. And it's been amazing to see what some of the alumni from Gashora have gone out to accomplish in the world. And I'm sure you will accomplish amazing things yourself. So thanks for spending time today to talk about marketing. So the question is, what is marketing? How does it fit into a business? What is its purpose? Well, it starts with the brand. So think of the name of the breakfast food you eat, or think of the brand of the Rwanda soccer team, or the art gallery that you may have passed by, or the clothing that you wear. Someone establishes a brand and cultivates a brand so that what you see, that logo, means more than just the words. So how does it affect you emotionally? And then once you have that product, how do you price it? How do you advertise it? Who do you sell it through, or who do you sell it to? Um, how do you describe that product in advertising? And how do you potentially discount that product, or have promotions for that product? All of these questions encompass marketing, and we'll delve into each of these today. We'll start off with two, what I would characterize as academic principles, and then we'll go into practically what are the different components of marketing within an organization, and then apply that to a real world example as if you had started your own business. So the first of the two academic principles we'll talk about today is the 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, and place. And that's just a fun way to help you remember how marketing is used. So the product, how is it packaged? How do you prepare it for selling? Price, what's the pricing strategy? Do you try to discount versus the competitors, be it a premium versus them? And then promotion, which encompasses advertising, public relations, getting the brand and the product out into the public domain. And then place, where do you sell it? Who do you distribute it through? And where can people find your product or service? The 3 Cs are primarily related to the pricing component of marketing. So you'll see this in a lot of academic materials as well. So you want to think about 3 different sort of vectors where there's some overlap here in a Venn diagram. So one is, how do customers think about your product? How do they value it? Is it do they value it based on the total cost of ownership? Do they value it on a relative basis relative to other products? Then there's the company perspective in terms of how much did it cost you to build those products, and what sort of premium or margin do you want on top of that? And then competitively, what are the competitors doing? How are they pricing the product in the market? So now let's talk about how this all applies within the context of an actual organization, a company. And there's really three different components of marketing, practically speaking. One is the brand marketing, two is demand generation, and three is product marketing. So again, brand is raising awareness for that product or the company. Two is how, and also how do consumers of that product feel emotionally about that product. Two is demand generation. So how are you going to promote it? What mediums are you going to promote it through? How are you going to generate that demand and get people excited to buy your product? And lastly is the positioning of the product. How is it going to be described? Is it a product that makes people feel energized and excited? Does it make them feel relaxed? Does it make them feel strong? Like, how are you going to position the product and also relative to competitive products? Packaging, what's it going to look like? Is it going to be a dark packaging? Is it going to be bright packaging? And what are the ramifications of that? And then ultimately, how are you going to price it? So when someone is in an organization leading marketing, they're thinking about all three of these things. And often as an organization gets larger, you will have people in charge of these specific areas. So someone just in charge of brand marketing, or just in charge of demand gen and product marketing. In a consumer-oriented business, you may hear product marketing described often as merchandising. There's some overlap there as well. So let's use a real life example. Let's say you want to start a jewelry business. So how is marketing going to come into play in your jewelry business that you just started? So starting with brand, what are you going to name your company? What imagery will you show next to that jewelry? Is it going to be a prestige, a high-end jewelry line? Is it going to be low-cost jewelry that people can wear every day? Based on that, how are you going to display it? Is it going to be in a fancy case that no one can touch because it's so premium? Or will it be out and open for people to touch and feel because maybe it's not a high-end jewelry? What does the brand stand for? How do you want buyers or consumers of that product to feel? And how will you present it in, let's say you're advertising on like a Facebook or social media platform like an Instagram? How are you going to, how do you want consumers to perceive that product based on how you're presenting it? So these are all the things you'd have to think about within the context of brand marketing if you were starting a jewelry business. Secondly, demand generation. So how are you going to generate demand for this jewelry? You can't just put it out for sale and cross your fingers and hope that people come. And often businesses have salespeople who are out there selling, but there's a higher order lead generation thought framework that needs to happen to drive sales and to drive interest to the salespeople and give them a framework to speak about the product and give them what some people would call warm leads. So interested parties that they can then go close transactions with. So think about a jeweler at a store or a mall. People coming into that store are warm leads. So marketing's job would be to get people into the store. The salespeople behind the counter, it's their job to close the business. So from a demand generation perspective, where are you going to, are you going to advertise the product? If so, in what publications, in what channels are you going to advertise? So are you going to advertise online, in print, on the radio, TV? Will you have partners? Do you want to co-brand with another company to promote the product? How much do you want to spend on generating that demand? And where are you ultimately going to sell it? So these are all the things that within the context of your jewelry business, you'd have to be thinking about as a marketing leader from a demand generation perspective. Lastly, product marketing. So how will you describe this product? Which products will you choose? So your design team will have a number of different types of products. Which are the trends, or how are you tailoring the product based on the customer's needs? So marketing usually sits somewhere between, the people selling the product and the people making the product. And so oftentimes you need to have some business acumen, financial acumen to some degree, but also you need creativity, and you need to be in touch with what the customer wants. And that's very important in product marketing, or oftentimes called merchandising in certain types of businesses. How are you going to stay on top of those trends to know what the consumer of your product wants? And how will you package the product in terms of, maybe you'll sell two of them or three of them at once? Do you want to sell necklaces and bracelets and earrings separately, or do you want to sell them together as one package? And how will the consumer perceive that? So here's some examples of effective marketing, companies that are known for having very strong marketing and brands. And you may recognize some of these logos. So for instance, Apple, the maker of the iPhone, very strong product marketing and around ease of use. So my 4-year-old can pick up an iPhone and take a picture. And that's something that Apple's become synonymous with ease of use. They've done an incredible job with product marketing. Patagonia is a clothing brand that really has a foundation in sustainability and doing good by the environment and reusing materials in their clothing. And so that sustainable image that they've created has led to a brand around better for the environment and sustainability. Tiffany's is a jewelry company, very relevant to the example that we were just discussing. And when people get a Tiffany's box, they see that blue box, and it creates an emotional effect on them, and they get excited because Tiffany's created this very prestigious brand, and everything's delivered in this blue box. And so when people get a gift, they see the box and they're excited before they even open it up, because they immediately know that it's Tiffany's. Nike has done made remarkable strides in demand generation through athlete partnerships. So some of the most well-known athletes in the world across all sports are sponsored by Nike. They wear Nike shirts and hats when they're out playing their sports, and that generates incredible demand for Nike's products. And they will also do sponsored products. So some basketball players they design their own Nike shoes and then go out and sell them. Wheaties is a cereal, and they've been around for a long time and have created a brand around making yourself stronger by eating Wheaties. They have well-known athletes on the boxes of Wheaties. And so at least here in the US, people often say, have you eaten your Wheaties? And that's supposed to imply that Wheaties makes you stronger. So these are all examples of brands doing very well at what we discussed earlier in the 3 components of marketing, and also applying those 2 academic principles we discussed, the 4 Ps and 3 Cs. So lastly, I'm excited to do an interview with a marketing leader that I have a lot of respect for, Lisa Ames. We will include her in a separate link that you'll be able to get access to. And Lisa has been a marketing leader in several technology organizations. You may recognize some of the logos before. She's operated in all facets of marketing. And so we're going to talk about what it's like to be a marketing leader. What sort of accomplishments is she most proud of? What are the challenges of navigating a marketing organization? How does marketing fit within an organization? And you'll hear it directly from someone that has decades of experience operating some very well-run marketing organizations and in primarily technology-driven businesses here in the United States. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. It was really exciting to talk to you about marketing and its role in an organization and its importance in building a business and in entrepreneurship. So thanks so much, and we'll be in touch soon with the interview with Lisa. Thanks again.